Hello everyone, welcome to the project Vision. The problem statement of this project is basically it is a web-based photo editor and this app can be used as an go lightweight editor and no need of installing large video editing software, so just apply a filter. So this app has all basic filters available on it of a button, and this project contains almost the best suitable modules which contains image processing techniques provided by the OpenCV library in the Python. Now let us see the tech stack involved in this. Basically the tech stack involved in this project is Go, Python and OpenCV. So we use Django for the web application is the server, and the Python is for the logics behind the OpenCV is for the image processing. Now let us see the input and output of this project. So what happens here is we will be having few filters such as sketch and pencil, blur, grayscale, sharpening of an image, negative of an image, and object tracking of an image. And you can respectively see the outputs of the particular image. You can see that the first image is the grayscale and the second is for the object tracking. The third is for blurring an image and fourth is the pencil sketch and the fifth one is the negative of an image and the last is the sharpening of an. So these are the filters that are available in this application. So it has a wide variety of collection by using the codes which are expensive mode. So we have converted the normal codes to extensive way so that we can get the best output. So let us wrap up this session. And hello everyone, welcome to the project Vision. In this project, we are going to divide into two stages. And in the first stage, we will be getting started with the Django and rendering some sample text and the images. And in the second phase, we will be writing the application logic and finally, we will be seeing the recap of the whole project. So let's get started by the first phase of this project. So to create a folder in a directory, we need to use mkdir and the folder name. So in my case, I am naming it as Vision, and you can see that it went to the next. So let us write cd vision. So cd vision helps us to go into the directory. Now let us install Django in this folder. So pip install. As I have installed before, it will show requirement already satisfied, but in your case, it will install the required modules for Django. And next, let us create a project by using. So to do that, we need to write Django admin start project. So start project helps us to create a project using. So inbuilt will be like Django will be creating few files with it. So now let us also name the start project application by the same folder name and it as Visual. And you can see that a Django project has been created. Let me show you the files that have been created by the Django. These are the files that have been created by Django while we are using start project. So you can see that in the main folder Vision, a subfolder Vision has been created by the Django, and the files that have been created by the Django are settings.py, URLs and WSJ and man. Now let me see what is there in the each. And starting from the settings.py, basically settings.py acts as an like roadmap for the the Django project. So what happens? Okay, basically you can see a debug equals to. So what happens here is whenever our code went wrong, Django locates the line at that particular line where code went wrong and will show in the browser. So while we are not doing in the production, it is so useful so that we can debug our code. But we should make sure when we are deploying this project, in the production, we need to make it false. And the next thing is allowed host. So allowed host is also used while production or slash deployment. So basically there are two terms, deployment or production. So deployment is when we run our the project in globally in the cloud, whereas in local host will not say as production. So when hello host helps us to allow the host which is hosting our application. And next you can see installed apps. As Django we can use can build many apps. can connect all the apps by using this array. So we can just give the name of the sub app and automatically Java can connect. And let us see what is templates. So what happens in templates is like we will be creating few HTML files, right, for the front end or the landing page. So we should name the file which where the index.html or where those files are located. So in this templates list, dirs is dictionary. We need to give the templates, I mean folder name inside this array. So this is about templates. And at the last, you can see that there is a known as static URL. So what happens in a static URL is it's so important while when we are dealing with media content or image. So as in this project we are dealing with media content such as images, we will be using the static URL in the media URL that we are going to create. This is about settings. Now before jumping to the URLs.py, let us see more about MVT architecture developed by Django. Now let us see the outline about MVT architecture, that is well known as models, views and templates. So whenever user tries to fetch data or give some input to the website, what does the Django do? Django sends the request to the URLs. So URLs maps the request to the views and search for the function in the views. And views will use the models and templates to get the data and show the feed for the user. So the triangular relation between models, views and templates is known as MVT. And in the template section, we will be using HTML, CSS, JavaScript. But we will be also using DTL, that is known as Django Template Language. So we can also write our Python logics inside the HTML files by using DTL. Now let us discuss the workflow of this project. So basically user will be giving an input image and you will be asked the user to select any of the options such as sketch, blur, grayscale, sharpening, native image and object tracking. So we will be writing each of this operation code in the Django and we'll be serving through Django. Basically we'll be using OpenCV modules to do the image processing technique. So this is all about the image techniques that we are going to serve in this application. So let us go to the use.py and let us write the code. Now that we understood what is the MVT architecture followed by Django, let us create the files that are missing in this folder. You can see that views.py is missing. Let us create the file. So dot. You can also see that the templates folder is also not there. So we need to create a templates folder. Just write it as the templates. We need to create text.html. Now let us render some sample text. So if you are using Visual Studio, right, shift exclamation mark and so you can generate a automated HTML. Now let us render for now hello. Whenever we open our local host, you can see hello will be rendered in the to render that we need to write some code in the views. The first thing is the import statement. Let us import the modules that are required. So Django HTTP import HTTP response is used to render the output in the, and the same way render is used as a keyword to render the text.html. Now let us write the code for a function which so the function that we are going to create is known as, we can also name it on any way, like the name is not a reason we can name. Now the thing is we need to get a function and name it as you can run a sample font and with the HTML file that is located. So you can see that I have wrote index.html but not templates. So because we will be writing in settings.py, told you in the beginning, the templates we need to write in dirs templates. So basically what happens here is templates can directly map the templates array. So we need not to write the templates again while we are writing. Now that we wrote in the views.py, we need to also write in the URL. First we need to import the use functions inside the URL. we will be writing dot in. So from dot means it exports all the functions which are available to import now a function in the view step we will be writing path, and so to do that we will be writing path of a views dot index and to index. So as the function name is index, sure that you when you are writing another name, make sure you need to remove this index to your particular. So this is all about the URL start with views settings start and the index. We are all set to run the just run the server. So to run the server, open the terminal and locate to the folder where vision. Then you need to write python .py. So basically manage.py as a function to run the server. So this is about the files that have been created by Django. Now let us run the server. Now you can see that hello has been displayed in the browser, the local host address. Now this is how you render a sample text. Now let us dig into more and let us see how to add a media content. Like if user clicks on the submit, let us create a form where user can click on it and upload a file, and which can be passed through the Django, and we can see the file in that folder. Now let us do that. Now that we are passing some media content through Django server, we need to do few changes in the settings.py. So as I earlier told that we need to write a media URL in the media content. Now let us write. Now you can see that a static URL and a static root. So os.path.join will basically do find out the static files in our folder, and in the media URL basically us to find the image, and it will be storing in a folder called media. So what happens is whenever we are going to run the server, so it is basically going to select where like going to search a media folder which is going to be created after when we'll run the server, and basically it searches where it is. I can see that the like you can see like error here. So to compress that error, we need to write import OS. So OS is a library provided by Python to to get or fetch path of a particular image or a particular file. So you need to first for sure you need to add these four things in things.py is media URL, media root, and static URL start. So media root contains the path, and media root also contains the path of the image. Static contains the files like JavaScript images such as, and the static URL is like acts as the path. So whenever you can see the path, see users, username and vision. So basically static URL adds to that path, and Django acts as an server, like acts as a medial component so that it can directly pass the image and find out the path of the image. So this is the first thing, and the second thing that to be for sure done is the URLs.py. We need to make sure first importing we need to import a static components. So that is basically from Django we need to import statics. So static is component is used whenever you are dealing with it. So we should also mention in the URL.py. So this is the import statement that we are going to follow from Django.conf URLs.start import statics. What basically happens is URLs will also find whenever a media content was found, it will be routing the correct part to the static. So this is what the import statement. To use that, we will be creating URL patterns by we are also going to use the above URL patterns. Find whenever we got the settings, we need to find out whether it got correctly or not. So what we need to do whenever we are dealing with the media content. So you can see error. So that is basically because of as we are dealing in the images, we need to import the settings.py settings inside the URL. So to do that, we need to write from Django conf import settings. You can see that the errors have been suppressed. So this is about the URLs.py and the settings.py. So these both handle the background stuff, and now we need to write the full code for the views.py so that we can fetch the images from the index.html. So first let us write the index.html so that it will be to whenever we are writing the views. Now let us write the code in the index.html. So starting with the block, we'll be writing a new command called as block content. So Django provides an extensive support for DTL, that is known as Django template language, where you can use the block content, that is also known as the Python, or else like we can use our Python logics inside the HTML files. Now, yeah, you can see that I've wrote block content, and let us write in a way where so user can pass the a commands or variables value, a dictionary, anything, and you can show them in the index.html. So will we write hello and let us pass a name using a double flower brackets, and we'll be writing a name. So what happens here is we need to get a whenever we need to use or else any DTL support, we need to enclose with its a double flower brackets. So what happens here is whenever in the views.py we pass in the render output, if the name is equals to some name, we can render this output here. Just concentrate on the submitting a file by the user. So to do that, we will be creating a form, and let us name the method as. So we will be having two methods, that is known as post and get. So post method is most secure and better. So get method helps us to send in a way where like our outputs will be sent in a form of the URL. So that is unsecure, right? So if your data has been passed through the URL of your website, it's unsecure. Whenever you're dealing with passwords and anything like that, it's unsecure. So we will be using method post. So that after writing method equals to post, we need to write a call action. So what happens is whenever user clicks a button inside the form, user will be writing a function name. Just write a function name. So what happens is whenever user clicks any button inside the form, so you know the forms, right? Google Forms. You will be giving your details, and then finally we will be submitting. So what happens is the submit. So whenever user clicks the submit button, this action take will be calling, and will be in the call function take will be passing through URLs, and we will be finding whether take function is available in the views.py, and if it is available, we will be passed the data in the form and we compute. So let us write a new thing called encrypt, and like basically what happens here is as we are dealing with images, we need to encrypt the typing so that we will be using multi-part multi-part form data. This encryption used to when we are dealing with image. So make sure so after creating a form, let us fill in the form. So what happens here is now that let us we have created a form, let us write some input tag. So to write an input tag, we'll be using input, and let us write the type of it. So there can be many types. We can see that button, checkbox, date, email, file. So as we are dealing with files, we need to select file. So after files, let us name that. So they will be in a form. We'll be having many placeholders, like we have name, user, right? Name, password, where do you live, your address, your state. So how the Django can locate the particular one? So every label has its own. So we can name it in any way, but in my case, I have named as in. So whenever we are finding when like anything submitted in the form, but we want a particular one, so we will be naming that. Using the post method, we are going to send the data which have been stored in the input tag. So let us write close. Let us close this tag. Let us write few break and space, and let us type input, and let us type submit. So as you are done, you need to send the data to the server, so that you need to create a submit. So type is submit is also a functionality by input tag, so that it states that you have filled the form successfully. Let us write value is equal to sub. Just close. This is the form which contains where user can give a file, which also passes few like which are enclosed in the double flower bracket. It shows that you are passing an input from the views. Now this is form for index, I mean the input, right? So let us write output, like if we are passing an image through index.html, right? So we need to also show the output, right? So to do that, we will be writing image src equals, and as you can see, again I've gave flower brackets double enclose. We'll be writing a file path. So file path name it contains the file path where we are going to, like, where later we are going to write the code. Just keep so for just for remembrance. This is the output section. This is the input section. So this will only trigger if you get this file path name. So whenever you submit this form, this will be activated. So let us submit, let us close this index.html. Now let us write the code for views.p. So starting with the importing the modules of known as file system storage. So file system storage is a module provided by the Django. So whenever we are dealing with static files or the images or files which we use in our daily life, we need to use file system storage as module to Django. So let us write the function take. So as I told you before, we have created the action, the index.html, we have used a take, right? I'll show you. So you can see that in the action I wrote take. So we need to also write the same function name in the views.py, right? So let us write def take. Now let us write. So let us first create a object of, the above file systems. So before that, let us get the data from the user, right? So we need to write request dot, but here we need to write files. So while we are dealing with numerical data, we will be just writing request dot get. But here we are dealing with the files. We need to write files as an dot get data. So let us write the in, because in the index.html use the dot in name as in. So make sure you also keep the same view. So again in the files.py we'll be writing files. So data which have been enclosed in the in will be stored in the file ob. So let us create a object of file system storage. So after creating this object, we need to create a we need to add we need to use the attributes of it. So let us write file path name. So this is what I used in the index. File path name fs.save file ob file obj comma file obj comma. So basically what happens here is we need to save the name of the file. So that is the reason we wrote file obj and the file obj dot. The file obj is an image. File obj dot name is the file name. This is about the object that we have created. Now to fetch the URL of it, to write path equals to test dot. So we'll be getting the exact path of the particular file together. So this is about the file path name. Really we got that. Now after this we need to make sure first is the name. Now let us write the print statement, print file path, so that we can decide whether it's correct. So after this, as we need to render the output, let us write return render. This time we need to send couple of outputs to the index.html. So first thing is return request, comma. First thing is index.html file name. The next thing is a dictionary which contains few outputs, such as you can see that first we need to send the finally the file path. Let us copy this, and as we ask the file path name variable which contains the path, so let us easily write the same thing again. Now you can see that file path name will be coming from. You just need to pass that, and name can be passed from text.html or the take.html. So it's your take function. So basically the name I guess just gave hello and the name. So this concludes the views.py. Now let us add the function to the view. So you can see that in the views.py added path take comma views.take and name take. So as we have wrote for the index as the same thing we need to write for. So this is about the view index, and now let us run the server and check the output. To run the server again, Python run server. So if you run this, you'll be getting the output in the head. Now you can see that our website is live in the local host. So let us see it by giving some sample input. So let us choose a image file in that tree. Let us check whether it's working. Now I've given a image forward. Let's see if I click submit button, you can see that it failed because of the CRSF token. So what is CRSF? So what basically happens in the index.html is we are going to send a request and forward the same request to again. So whenever we are handling with method post, we need to write a CRSF token. So to do that, we will be enclosing again double bracket. This time we'll be keeping a percentage symbol and just write CRSF. So this token helps us to whenever we are dealing with any post or get data. CRSF token acts as an authentication. If you run the server again, you can see that it is going to work. Now you can see that the website is working. Let us insert the file. I am inserting a forward image. You can see that this time it successfully gave an image. So, and you can also see that you can also again upload a file. So this is how you send the you can see that hello UV came. So because of the request which I have gave in the index.html, let me show you again. The views.py, I have told you that I've passed and my name as put to the HTML. So you can see that in the index.html, I gave name is equals to UV. So using the DTL, we have passed the name, and using the render request, we have passed. So this is how you send and request the data. Now let me show you the files that what happened in the background of the data. I mean background of the Django. If you see that a folder media have been created, you can see that images have been uploaded. Let me show you in this Explorer. You can see that in the directory vision, a media folder has been created by the Django, and it is storing the image forward.jpg inside the media folder. This process is fully done by Django by using the static files and the media content before. So this is how you send and manipulate the data. Our goal is to when it sends the data to the HTML file, we're going to modify that by using few filters in the OpenCV. So this project contains, as I told you before, few modifications to the image. Let us start the writing the code for the modification. Now let us write the application logic by starting with importing the required mod. So let us record the required modules and the image. So we will be testing with a sample image to show you. And to show you the image, we will be writing dot imshow. So imshow is used in OpenCV to show an image. The image has been to read an image will be read, and to show an image will do. So JC is the variable that holds the image in the with the path which I've given. So let me show you the image, and you can see that this is the image I am going to make filters and apply filters. So let's start this by changing this image to grayscale. So basically grayscale in the we need to invert the colors, like it is in blue color, right? Basically we need to show in a way like it should appear in a green. So if basically grayscale is like black and white, right? So in this image we need to find out the black and white spots and we need to convert. So let us write cv2 dot cvt color jc comma cv2 color to. So this is what we are when an image to. So here you can see that jc is an image which I have loaded before. Let me show you the image. For the image we'll again use plt.imshow. Again, now this time we need modified image. So we'll be writing a. So what I've done cv2 dot cvt colors convert color is a model given by OpenCV. Pass the image and convert the color to. So whenever if you find a color it's going to change the color to gray. You can see the image difference, right? So before it is in blue color, so converted into. Now let us write the native. So what is native? Past days we used to have native photographs. So what is native is basically when we need to find out the pixels of all the grayscale images and to convert it. So how are we going to do this? Native equal a minus, else you can just say 255 minus. So the reason I've did my 5, basically our GP values are of a range of 0. So native, when native comes here when we the picture. So I'll show you let me show you lt.im, but this time we are going to. So entity contains the image of native. I can see that the difference between two is going to like detect all the color in the image and make it to native image. So this is what a native image looks like. So to get a native image we need to remove the color object from the original image. Now let us write the code for HSV colors. So HSV color is a frame, I mean it's an also a model given by Python. Let's write the code for it. So basically let us where pj equals to same syntax, but now to change the image of the original image c comma. Now the thing is cv2 dot color underscore pgr to hsv is like converting a RGB image to HSV. HSV image colors are more have like can control the saturation, HUE. I mean it we can control over the color, but whereas RGB are the fixed colors with 0, 0, 250, like in a range of this. So to control the saturation, to control what in the content of the image we use HSV. Now let me show you the output. LT dot I am sorry I need to pass to OBJ right the image. So for better understand, I will be taking another image. Let me show you the image outputs now. Now I've loaded a new image. Let me show you. So this is the new, but this time I need the variable to AC1. AC1 has rid of the. Now you can see that this is the new. Let us convert into, but you can't because the image is original. Again, we need can you can see that the difference whenever it got black and white, green, red to color. So let us see the native of the our image. I can see that clearly the native is what is it doing. You can find out it removed all the pixel values of black, so it became to an. Let's see. Let us see. You can see a major difference here because we change it to 61. You can see that clearly it converted the RGB image to HSV image controlled over. Basically, the region where we use HSV is whenever we want to point the object in the given image. So you can see that the background is like you can find the content of the image by using HSV. So in this whole image, the most important image, I mean the content of this image is the arrow marker. So by using HSV, we can find out that clear. You can see that it gave correct exactly the different color for the that arrow symbol. HSV has many cases. Let us start writing for code for. So to blur an image, we Gaussian blur. So before that, to blur an image, we need to rescale the image. Now if we say the image size, it is 1200 into 1200. So we need to decrease it by 60%. Now to decrease it will be the size option given by Python. Now let us see scale percentage equals 0. Let's give width equals to of AC1. So what is shape? Shape is known as 1200 into 12. You can find out an image shape of any. So if you see print of JC1 dot, you see to give 956 into 1300. Basically, 3 is the number of channels in the 56 is the height and width of the 1300 and 956 access and width and height. So to access the width, we are going to write shape of 1. So we are going to get the 1300 as the width and 56 as. So let us convert this. What we do? We are going to rescale, right? So to rescale, we need to multiply 956 into 0.6 so that the image will be rescaled. Let us write now. It equals of C1 shape of here only we will multiply, or you can also use the above variable that we have. Now you can see that the width and height will be manipulated on the. Let's write an m mentions width comma. Now that we have reset, now let us originally resize the image. Now we have manipulated the width and height, right? So to resize it, we will be using size equal to the size. The resize is a module provided by Python as an input. So JC1 comma dim. So resize needs two parameters. One is the image and the other one is the dimensions we need to resize it. The third important parameter is interpolation. So what is interpolation is basically we can do three types of interpolation. Is rectangular interpolation, big interpolation and interpolation. So let me show you that how here, or we may also call as interpolation, but it is let's see that here. Now if your app dot im the resized image plt dot im, if you this you see that the size have been decreased to 8. So this is how you resize an image. Now you can see that the image got resized. You can also see that dimensions have been decreased to 700, I mean 800. So this is how you, I mean, resize the given image. So you can see that this is the process to resize. Now that we have resized the image, let us show how to do Gaussian blur to an image. So what is Gaussian? The Gaussian blur is basically to blur a particular part or a whole image. Let me show you how to do a Gaussian blur. So Gauss equals to CV to that Gaussian of resize. So Gaussian blur needs an a small sized image so that it can perform well. So that is the reason we have resized. Now that we have resized, we need to pass kernel size. So what is kernel size? So what is blur? Basically, to blur a particular object, we need to modify the particular area's pixels, right? So what I'm doing is kernel size 15, 15 is a, it creates an NP array of 15 into 15 size. So it is going to iterate over all the image. I mean, like it is an image. Image is a group of pixels with a value of numbers, right? So we will be using a kernel size of 15, 15 to resize the, not re, I mean to blur the particular parts of an image. So let us now write sigma equal to 0, comma sigma y equal. So the reason we use sigma is whenever we don't know to blur the particular part correctly using the math, we need to write I mean sigma x and sigma y equal to 0. Now let us I mean use the CU to the time show the Gaussian blurred image. Now you can see that the image got blurred, right? So before it is good and not too. Now let us apply for the JC image, the first image that we have right. So let us print that. Let's print the Gaussian of the first image. Now you can clearly see that the blur effect is so good here because the original image contains the face and now the face has been fully blurred. So the kernel size, if we decrease, it will also decrease. So this is the functionality of Gaussian blur, and we can blur a particular part, full image. Now let us sharp the image. You know what is sharpening, right? So basically what is sharp? We need to to know the particular part of an image to be more, I mean, for context. So if you zoom an image, you'll be getting the original content of the image, right? So that is known as sharpening of an image. So to sharpen an image, we will be using CV2.filter 2D. So filter 2D is a tool used by OpenCV to sharp the given image. So in this we have used kernel size of 15, 15, but in this case we need to manually give the output. So that is basically a equals to np.array. Now this is the part where we are going to use so kernel np.array, and now we are going to make a three-dimensional array. So that is -1, the next three-dimensional array, comma. So this is the three-dimensional matrix of the kernel size that we are going to iterate all over the image. So this is the reason I kept this a three-dimensional image with a 9 as an in between pixel. So -1 is known as a, like in form of pixels we have less than 0 and greater than 0. So the like that is how the pixels will be acting in an image. Now let us write a code for sharpening. So sharp equals to CV2.filter 2D 2D resized image. For this also we need to give an input as resized image. As I told you before, resized image comma -1 kernel. You can write kernel and like it's your call. So you can just pass this variable or you can even give the same thing inside that. So let us now plt.im show of the sharp image. Now you can see that the output given is a sharp image. Now let us try the same for the JC image, that is the original image. In the arrow one to show you for. Again we need to make this way. Now let us run this and let us again this. You can see the effects. Now you can see that you can clearly observe a sharpening of an image from the original image. So in this image the black content is more. So after sharpening it went so much black. Now you can see that I have applied another image for sharpening of an that the original uh, like it's zoomed out. Now it is zoomed in, but you can see the context in it. Just write the code for sketch pencil sketch of an image. The first step is converting an RGB image to a grayscale. The next step is after getting the grayscale image, we need to apply negative for that. To I mean, basically, what we are doing is to get a negative image, we need to apply a grayscale image. We need to detect the minus pixels as we have done before to get a negative image. Like so, this is how to get a negative image. So after getting this image, we need to apply Gaussian blur to this image so that you can get the main object in the image. So after that we need to blend the grayscale image from the above image that we have blurred, and we need to blur the again the negative image. Now let me walk you through the code and let us start writing. The first step, like the first steps have been right. So the steps that we have done before are basically blurring an image and like converting to grayscale, right? So let me copy the code that we have wrote. So the first thing here also is we need to again resize the image we have done. So after resizing the image, we need to apply sharpening for the image so that we can get the content and where the image has been correctly lined. Let us copy the above code for sharp. You can see that until we got to the sharpening of an image. Let us apply grayscale to the image and get the negative. So to get the negative of the image, we also wrote for it. Just copy the code that we wrote for getting the negative of an image. So let us copy the gray. Before putting the resized image, first you should need to get the grayscale image, and then you need to apply the negative of an image. Finally, we need to apply Gaussian blur for the image. So I'll again show you the steps that I did now. The first step is resizing the next step is to sharpen the image. One is we need to get the grayscale image, finally get a negative image of the image so we can get the context of it. So finally we need to apply Gaussian blur for the above image by using cp2.dodge. What happens here is we'll write a function pencil in the final output contains cp2 Gaussian blur of the inverted image that we have stored now, so that contains that is comma k size equals 15 comma. We don't know when to size the cut. Just keep sigma 0 sigma. So stage we'll be getting a pencil gauze. We need to get the final pencil sketch. So pencil gauze contains this, and to get the pencil sketch we need to write. Now the important thing is to the divide by thing is we are going to get the negative of the blur image so that we'll be getting the whole text of the image. Now you can see that. Let me again show you outputs of the each of the final output and lt dot. Now you can see the output as a sketch. This is how you sketch an image. Now let us see the intermediate output. So let us first see lt dot negative of the I will be showing the outputs of the each. First out get this. Because this is because multiple IM print. You understood, right? This is the negative image. So basically what happens in negative image, the main object will be highlighted. Pencil gauze of the negative image. So basically applying gauze and negative image. Understood, right? The negative image, see the Gaussian blur of this above image. You can see that as we have blurred it, the highlighted yellow ones, so that we can easily get the outline of the final output is the pencil. So you understood, right? The first step what we did is we got the negative of the image, did the color of it, and finally we have used the divide to basically get the grayscale image and blend it with the blurred image, so that we'll get the color. So these are the steps that we follow while we are doing an pencil sketch of it. We'll be concluding the application logic. Let's move to start P. Now that we are done with the application logic, let us integrate the index.html with few buttons so that user can interact with the HTML file. So what are the options that we are providing is like as before, I mean the blur option, sketch, like as so to be more interactive, so we will be using a checkbox known as check from. So what happens is Bootstrap provides us a form with check from switch. So basically it contains two things, is on and off. So when user clicks on it, it will be in on state, and if user doesn't click, so as we are using get and post, so we'll be also sending the if any particular form of checkbox has been turned on, we will be also sending to the views.py, and we'll be also adding a code where we'll be checking if the particular button isn't. So let me walk you through the code. So what happens here is I've created a class form check from which has an input which type checkbox. So you can see that there will be different types of checkbox as I explained you before. Checkbox like submit, type equal to submit, equal to radio button. So the reason I've kept checkbox is like user can check multiple things like uh like that. So I kept type equal to checkbox and ID equals to checkbox, and finally name. So as I have discussed before also, to send the particular ID, so we having many components in a form. To trigger one of the particular component, we will, so that we can get the data of the HTML. We will be using ID, whereas in to get the fetch data will have you buttons. Just copy the same thing, just multiply. Here we have pencil. In this case we'll just, so whenever we are writing the code in view, I will be fetching like request.post.get where name equals to blank. So here as it is, just see the I mean index.html. You can see that as I have not the server, the DTL languages have been not recognized by the H. But the main thing that should be noted is about the sketch, pencil, and blur. So you can see that these three buttons can be activated. You can see how the function. So let us add all the functionalities of this website. Let's see that. Now you can see that only before each option has a state, right? So we are going to every time check request.post.get whether sketch is on, to validate whether it is on or off. Sketch contains a task Basically, after getting the post data, we'll be keeping a if statement everywhere, like if sketch is on, sketch is off, like that. So if blur is on, so if any of the one is, we will be going. So as we need to return some output to the index.html, we have created a param. So the params contains the name and the string. So basically, I told you before, the output page we file path name. So we need to present the output of file path name through this take.html. What happens if any of the option is been triggered? Writing params equal to after select any. So this is when the user doesn't select. So let me walk you through. So when sketch is on, what happens is, as I told you before, a media folder has been created in the files. We are going to get this path. We are just going to replace it by the changed image. You can see that what happens is p is a variable that contains the image that have been uploaded by the user. So we are going to do the modification. Finally, we are going to return this. Like finally, we are writing params equal file path name. What is happening is we are going to that you have read to the time to that im read. So the new function is as im. So im write helps us to to remove replace that if there is an image, you can replace with the modified image, or you can even write the particular image if you give a full path. So p contains the path where the image has been uploaded by the user. The pencil.js will contain the modified image. We are going to use cp to the time. We are going to return the request to the index.html, the modified file. Same applies for the blur. So you can see that again I've used a p how I wrote for each. So let us see the run. Let us run the server. For that, to update it before itself. Take equal for just seeing the image at the. Now let the server. So as I told you before, to run h.p, this helps us to run. You can see that the server is running. Let's see the output. Now let us test some functionalities of this website by giving some sample images. So let us submit a file of the image that we have tested before, that is the car. Let us click on sketch. Let us submit. You can see that you got the image right down itself. The image is like a sketched image. So this is the one which you have. Now let us apply another one. Blur. Let us apply blur image. See that the output has a blurred image. As you can see that the image has been blurred here. So now let us see another function. See negative of the, click on negative. You can see that clearly it produced a negative image that all the content has been changed. It is showing very clear. Now let us see another. Let's see the object track the image. You can see that it highlighted the car. It left all the background. So this is how the web image uploading app, rather vision app. So I think you have understood the procedure that we have till now. You can see that sketch, blur, everything is working. You can see the code and be uploading the readme file of this project, and you follow the steps and you can run this code in your local host. Thank you.